Alright, welcome to another video where I go over the December 13th Decklists. The one I have up today is black, white stuff. Basically uses Luminarch Aspirant to pump up the Nighthawk Scavenger or Vengeful Reaper, deal some quick damage, potentially overwhelm some opponents. There's a few cards in here that are somewhat interesting. I don't know how Lithoform Engine will do. We have some Shadow's Verdict, which doesn't really play well with our Aspirant and our Varagoth or our Nighthawk Scavenger. But it's a good way to play a sort of a control game versus like other faster mono white decks. It pretty much gets rid of everything. You just have to make it to 5 mana. Sometimes it just may not be enough either. But you also have a lot of removal here. I don't really know why Feed the Serpent is here over another Baleful Mastery. It could just be because of wildcard availability. They may not have wanted to spend another rare wildcard on the another Baleful Mastery. Baleful Mastery is just the superior card. In this instance, you may want to play, if you're going to play something like this, you may want to play the one that makes a treasure token. At least it allows you to ramp a little bit. Already I can see this deck is not playing any dual lands whatsoever, so I could see the double black and single white and double white being an issue. The Crawling Barrens is actually an interesting choice because you can actually pump it with the Aspirant, and then you can pump it on its own, and it becomes a very huge threat and end the game basically in one swing. Because it never needs to become a creature. It says you may have it become a elemental creature, so you don't need to have it. You just keep, if you have spare 4 mana, you can just keep putting the counters on it. But I think without dual lands here, at least the Crimson Vow one definitely should be in this deck, but again, it's a bit subject to whatever you have available in terms of wild cards and whatnot. Although I think I would probably just because you want the dual lands and you're sort of a mid-range control deck anyway. Even if you can't get the Shattered Sanctum or the Bright Climb Pathway, I think the Snowfield Sinkhole, you can play that. It's a common, so it should be very easily attainable. You just may not want any lands that come into play tapped, but still, I think this is at least some number of them, maybe 2 or 3, even 4 probably wouldn't hurt. I think would be a good place to start with the very first thing I would do. I'm not going to change the deck at all. I just want to play it as is to see how it does, but my gut tells me that I'm going to have mana issues. Alright, so just playing best of 1. These are typically I think they're pretty much all best of 3, although this one doesn't have a sideboard at all, so it never sideboards, I guess. Okay, well, I have both of my colors. I have Aspirant and a Humiliate, and then a Poison the Cup. Yeah, this is not bad. I'll leave with the white. Now I obviously want to play the Aspirant first. Now, in this instance, the Aspirant doesn't change with the changes that came about in Alchemy, but I'm not really playing Alchemy. I don't like the random nature of some of the cards. Now, I have 2 options here. I can either play this and then pump it, or I can Humiliate, and this will be a 4/4. It doesn't make me... I think that's my best bet. Even though I don't get to use all of my mana. Definitely get rid of that. It may be possible that I played this, then pump it, make it a 3/4, but and then still be able to attack. Well, actually, I wouldn't have been able to attack with that. All right. Now, I could have just killed it, but I want the Scry 2 effect. It does cost me a little bit more mana, but the card advantage of it definitely benefit. Yep. It's whenever you gain life. Okay. None of them have lifelink, so... I like the land. Let me see. I don't know if this card is going to be any good. They tend to play the 3 mana Angel, but at least I can kill the other thing, so I'm going to keep it for right now. Oh, they just conceded. All right. Well, you got to see what that deck kind of does with just 3 cards. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, okay. Nice. Oh, I could have reset this, but I still might. Yeah, play 40 lands. Yikes. Okay. All right, so, well, that was a quick one, so we're going to play another one. I'm going to try to keep, again, I'm going to try to keep these videos as short as humanly possible. I like to try to play 3 games, but if I start getting into, like, you know, past the 30-minute mark into the second game, which I have in some videos, I won't play a third one. I don't really want it to go more than 30 minutes. Now, again, we have this issue where if I don't draw Black Source, I'm dead. And I have 3 cards that don't do anything. Yeah, I have to mulligan. Well, this is a keep, but I'm not sure. I have to keep. Now, it's possible that I put a land on the bottom, but I don't think that I do. This deck is playing 23 lands. I think it's the elixir. I think Kai is just more powerful. No, maybe not. Depends on the matchup. I don't know what I'm playing against, so Kaya probably. No, I don't think it's sure. It's kind of hard to say. Duress is pretty much game over here, or that. That's fine too. It's pretty much game over now. A couple of the Elder Fang clerics, or the other one. Now, it's a strong possibility that they're going to cast the discard spell here. In which case, I want to get this. They're likely going to make me discard both the cards, and then I'm pretty much dead. So, I forget the name of that card. Yeah, Skull Raid. Yeah, it's pretty much game over at this point. I literally have no cards, and they have 6. So. Skullbraid's a pretty good card. But then, really, against my deck, any sort of discard pretty much tears me apart. I could have added mana there, but doesn't really do anything. Yeah. Yeah. Poison the cup for their hive. Okay. Keep that on top. The one thing about decks like this is once I have no cards in hand, the majority of their cards become almost useless. So
from December 16th to 23rd, save up to 50% on door crashers, jackets, and snow pants.
nice. Well, I made a game of it. They need to have a removal spell or another blocker. So, or some way to kill me. Yep. Now, if they don't do anything here, they will likely... they need a removal spell. Sure. With 3 mana, it's probably a poison the cup, I'm guessing. for 6 next turn. We'll just pass. There's no point in attacking into a likely Poison the Cup or some type of removal spell, maybe Hero's Downfall or something like that. No point in just playing into it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Don't want that. Now, the only thing they could have here is likely Infernal Grasp. Oh, got a blocker. So they didn't really have anything to begin with, it seems like. But I couldn't really take that chance. I can now choose to sacrifice the Bloodsire if I wanted to. I think if they had not hit me with Skull Raid, I likely would have been able to get out of it. I need a removal spell here for the Eye Twitch if they decide to start pumping the Lantern. Okay. Well, they got 2 blockers now. Sure. It's very possible that they didn't have the removal spell for the Crawling Barrens, and I likely could have ended the game, but they probably would have quit. Yeah, I figured they had Infernal Grasp. Yeah. Now they potentially could still have another one, but didn't quite get there. High likelihood that they have Infernal Grasp. But I don't really have a choice. I can't really do both. Yeah. I like to take 2, take 3, unless I keep this to discard. I can also still make this a creature and discard as well. I'll still end. I'm probably dragging this out a little bit too long, longer than I need to, but do I lose 2 life from this? Okay. Good game. I still could have stayed alive, but I was just, waxing idiotic at that point. So, not much reason to keep at that. Well, most mid-range-ish decks tend to buckle under multiple discard spells. If I'd been able to draw out of it at all, I likely would have won that match. They did have an Infernal Grasp, so it's very possible I would have lost it anyways, but I think I'm not going to do another one for this. I think it potentially could go much longer than I want the video to go. I never got to see the engine in play. The decision between the Elixir and Kaya didn't matter because they were both discarded. But in the first game, the Aspirant and Kaya was good. Vengeful Reaper actually did quite a bit of work in that last game. Although nothing shy of actually drawing an Elixir would have let me recover from that matchup. Mana, I did have to mulligan. That also hurt as well in that match. The last match that I just played, you saw where I had to mulligan because I had 2 planes and no white cards to cast. I think if you wanted to keep the deck as close to this as possible, I think there's not enough black sources in the deck. I think as well another option, like I was saying before about the lands, I think you could actually just again, if you want to sort of keep a budget in mind, I think a couple of the sinkholes, potentially even dropping the white, a couple of more white sources, because ideally if you open with if you have this in your hand and you play a tap, then you'll still be able to cast this on the next turn, so you'll end up with a bunch of untapped lands. As well, you could also use Evolving Wilds. So if you wanted to keep it a little bit more on the budget side, and this deck seems like a pretty good, I mean, you're still spending a couple of rares and stuff here, right? A couple of mythics and whatnot. But for the most part, the deck, I mean, you're, the Aspirant and whatnot. You can make spending wild cards on that, whatever you like. But this person obviously chose not to spend any wild cards on their mana base, which is totally fine and totally understandable. You can pretty much get by. I think Field of Ruin as well. It's an uncommon, so it shouldn't be that difficult to acquire. Evolving Wilds is a common. So that shouldn't be too difficult to acquire, and likely already have some, most likely. If not, I'm sure opening a few packs of Crimson Vow will actually get you some. Or just spending the common wild cards. I mean, I have, 572. But I purchased quite a few packs and stuff like that over the time that I've been playing. But that's another option. A couple of Evolving Wilds is a possibility. I think the deck is playing far too many white sources. They likely may have just allowed the auto add tool to add the mana base, and then they just kind of took one out. Yep, this way. I don't think this card will likely see. I don't think. I mean, you're, copying Poison the Cup is pretty good. For 5 mana, it's not bad. I don't know what permanent you would copy, except maybe copying Elixir for 8 mana. I don't know. I think if you get to that point against most decks, unless you're playing against another control deck, you're likely not going to matter. You're likely already winning. So it only matters of how you win at that point. As you saw in the first game that I played against the somewhat aggro deck, it's basically just life gain and make your creatures huge. Just the Aspirant and Kaya and a removal spell was enough to win the match, really. After that, it didn't make much of a difference. But that'll do it for this video. I think there's one more deck to play from the 13th. And it's the green-white Where's it at here? This one here. So I'm going to get this one here. This is one that I've been reluctant to sort of finish building simply because the Harbinger is, 3 rare wildcards that, since it's not available, this card's not available in packs, you basically have to spend your wildcards on it. Don't like that. I'd rather just be able to get it out of a pack. Because of the duplicate protection system in place, it's almost, if you're planning on buying packs anyway, it is a better option for you to be able to get them out of the pack than it is to spend your wildcards, because your wildcards are worth slightly more than a pack. It probably balances out in the end and the other way. I'm sure spending your wildcards is a better option. But this doesn't seem like a bad top end card, and I kind of want to see how it plays with the symbiosis and all the rest of the stuff here. So that's going to be the next video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you later.